of one who has taken his birth, he certainly, dhruvaha, a fact, mrityuhu, death, dhruvam. It is also a fact, janma, birth, mritasya, of the dead, cha, also, tasmat, therefore, apariharye, of that which is unavoidable, arthe, in the matter, na, do not, tvam, you, shojitam, to lament, arhasi, deserve. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. Purport: one has to take birth according to one's activities of life, and after finishing one term of activities, one has to die to take birth for the next. In this way, one is going through one cycle of birth and death after another without liberation. This cycle of birth and death does not, however, support unnecessary murder, slaughter, and war. But at the same time, violence and war are inevitable factors in human society for keeping law and order. The battle of Kurukshetra, being the will of the Supreme, was an inevitable event, and to fight for the right cause is the duty of a Kshatriya. Why should he be afraid of or aggrieved at the death of his relatives, since he was discharging his proper duty? He did not deserve to break the law, thereby becoming subjected to the reactions of his sinful acts, of which he was afraid. By avoiding the discharge of his proper duty, he would not be able to stop the death of his relatives, and he would be degraded due to his selection of the wrong path of action. So, Hare Krishna. We'll discuss this in detail. So, there's one verse. Just a minute. So, we'll start with the story. So, it's mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in one purport. We'll discuss that first. Because when we just first listen the word, like if we just think that when we were not in devotional service or something, like the word death, mrityu, like always like makes us uncomfortable, makes us little agitated. We don't become uncomfortable. We don't actually want to discuss about this. So obviously we don't have to overthink about it also. So we'll discuss this one story. We'll start with one story. So it's in the purport. Let me just find it. Mataji, you can also share the screen. Yeah. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada ji mentioned this story. It's there in the purport. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 7.2.57. So I will only read the purport because it will relate to our situation. Like, so once, it's a story from Mahabharata. So like when Yamaraj asked, like when actually Pandavas were in exile that time. It's a story from there. So Yamaraj once asked Maharaj Yudhishthira.
Wait, Mataji, could you please give me the chapter and canto name again, or number?
Yeah, it's from Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Canto 7, 7.2.57.
2.57.
Yeah. Read the purport. Story is there. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, this one. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mataji.
So I mean, like, yeah, yeah. So actually, like it's mentioned, the word is there. Like भगवान बोल रहे हैं कि हमें शोक नहीं करना है भाई. Should lemon, like he's saying to Arjun. Actually, through Arjun, he's teaching us that we should lemon for mundane things. So that's why we're discussing the story. So here, Yamaraj once asked Maharaj Yudhishthira, "What is the most wonderful thing within this world?" Maharaj Yudhishthira replied. So I will not read the verse. Let's read the translation. Hundreds and thousands of living entities meet death every moment. We know this, like I've seen so many. So, but a foolish living being nonetheless thinks himself deathless and does not prepare for death. Like we also, like when we see that time in that moment, we never think that we may also go through that. We just think उनके साथ हुआ हमारे साथ. Like actually we don't even think about that. So just next one things does not prepare for death. This is the most wonderful thing in this world. Like this is what Yudhishthira Maharaj said, because like we know that in the as it was discussed in the previous classes that we are not this body, this material body, we are the soul. And there was this beautiful analogy, like how a person like puts on new clothes and gives up the old ones, like that the soul does. Like the material body, like it accepts one material body, that is birth, and when it gives up that material body, when it becomes old, that is death. Like when we read it, it's very simple, but when we actually have to apply it in our lives, then it actually becomes a very big task. So this is the most amazing thing, because this story actually, when I was reading about this, why, and I just heard this from one devotee. I was watching one lecture, so there's why I just thought we should answer this. So let's just read the purpose again. So let's continue. So where was I? So everyone has to die because everyone is fully under the control of material nature. Yet everyone thinks that he is independent. Firstly, there was a time when we also used to think like that. But now, when we know a little bit from devotees about Krishna, then we think that we have to think in a different way. We have to think that we are not independent, like we're always dependent to Krishna because we are his part and parcels. So, okay, let's read again. That whatever he likes, he can do, and he will never meet death but live forever, and so on. So everyone like thinks like that. Like when people are not God conscious. If I take my example, when I didn't know about Bhagavad-gītā, or like who actually Krishna is, because obviously when as a kid I've seen his pictures and so much, but we have never like actually thought about this, what is actually all about, like who actually Krishna is. We actually didn't know that meaning. I mean, when if I'm like I'm saying this about like my experience. So now when I just know a little bit, so just we have to practice it in our lives. So like that, there are so many human beings who actually don't know. They have also seen his pictures, heard his names, but they also don't know about this. And they also think, oh, it's happening to them, it's not going to happen to me. I am forever. Hashtag best friends forever. So many things. So, so-called scientists are making various plans by which living entities in the future can live forever, which can never happen, because even in past also we have seen so many stories, like Hiranyakashipu. He also wanted, like everyone wants. Oh, what was that? सबको अमरता का वरदान चाहिए. Everyone wants immortality, but they never get that. Like never. So let's just again start. Are making various plans to, okay. But while they are thus pursuing such scientific knowledge, Yamaraj, in due course of time, will take them away from their business of so-called research. And this has happened. We know this. So we should now pray to Krishna that please help us so that we can get out of this illusion that we always, in which illusion, like we are always in this, like the moment we are discussing it, we are like, okay, hum Bhagwan ke hai. And the moment again we go to our workplace, our college, we talk to people, material things we discuss, and then we forget everything. And then when we again like start to chant, then we think, nahi, Bhagwan ke bare mein sochna hai. And then again this happens that we are again when we again talk with material people, then again we forget. Like this is what is happening with me now. So that's just also this one thing, like today's verse. It's quoted by Srila Prabhupada in one purport where it's clearly said that what is the purpose of our human life. So we will also see that. It's there in a minute. We will also discuss that. Let me find. It's in Canto 10, Chapter 1, Text 38. Let me just find it first. The Prabhupada quoted this verse and said, like, what's the purpose of our human life? Yeah. It's there. Mataji, the purport. I hope you all are able to understand because I'm a little nervous. Maybe
I think you're doing a great job, Mataji.
like, please tell me if there's any mistake, I'll correct that.
For sure. No mistake yet.
Okay, let me just find it's in my like, see, we can just see it as, I mean, I will not discuss the story, like when actually Kamsa wanted to kill Devaki Mata because जब उनको पता चला था that his 8th child will be his Kal, so it was like वो मारना चाहते थे देवकी माता को. तो that time Vasudeva said to Kamsa like few things. Obviously will not read that, but here's also a very important thing Prabhupada is just saying. Let me just find it on my phone. Just a minute. Where was I? Yeah, I'll read from here. So again, Srila Prabhupada quoted, and I'll read the meaning. For one who has taken birth, it's also given in the translation, death is certain, and for one who is dead, birth is certain. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. So now the next part is very important. One should not fear death. Rather, one should prepare oneself for the next birth. I mean, this is what we can do, because we can't win over death, because we have to die. So in this life, all we can do, we can just make Krishna our center of our lives, and whatever we are doing, anything we have to do, whatever our prescribed duties are, we have to do that by always remembering Krishna. And how we can do that, we'll also discuss that. And we all may know also. You all may know also that. So one should not fear death, rather one should prepare oneself for that. One should utilize one's time in this human form to end the process of birth and death. It's a very important statement. One should utilize one's time in this human form to end the process of birth and death. It's very important. Like that's why when like exalted devotees, when they say you should not waste your time like scrolling reels on Instagram, like then we just listen, but we are not able to apply that in our lives. It's very hard to just like how manage our things so that we don't waste time. So this statement, I'll again read this. I mean, this may also help me so that I can balance my time. One should utilize one's time in this human form to end the process of birth and death. It is not that to save oneself from death. One should entangle oneself in sinful activities. This is not good. Because comes up didn't want to die. That's why he just thought maybe I'll kill her, so then I'll not be killed by her child. So like that, people, if they want to like live forever, they just commit something so that they become immortal or something. I'll kill innocent people, like it's mentioned in today's purport. That's what Srila Prabhupada said. Like this cycle of birth and death, that's why it doesn't support unnecessary murder, slaughter, or war. Anything unnecessary, like we shouldn't do that, because people, if someone is doing that, if they are in this human body and doing those things, they are doing this so out of ignorance. I mean, they just think we'll be happy if we do this. मतलब उनको पता नहीं क्या मजा आता है इन सब में, God knows. So because those things are unnecessary, but sometimes it's necessary for law and order. If someone is committing crime or something, he should be punished. And that time, like for example, if we take the example of Battle of Kurukshetra, it was inevitable. That was important. So like वो धर्म युद्ध था, like it was for righteousness. So in this we can understand like what is necessary and what is unnecessary. The people who don't understand, they only do violence, unnecessary killings, and just creating havoc around. So let's discuss. But now we will discuss one thing, like how we can prepare for our next birth. This is important. So how we can prepare for that? So this one very beautiful verse, and a lot of people may know this, that is Sri Prahlada Uvacha, that is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. Like by practicing these 9, or by if we sincerely practice any one of them, then we can definitely, so that we can one day, we can hope that we will be able to, see Lord. And like how Prahlada Maharaj, I mean, for example, Prahlada Maharaj is an example. Like he's saying this, and then he also says, I'm from the family of demons. I mean, I'm how fortunate I am. But there are a lot of things he just said, but this part is like very important, because like any of these 3 things, like one thing I really liked about in this purport, like one thing, like for example, like we can take inspiration. Like we always, like in material world, people like tell us that you should take inspiration from people who are rich, who are businessmen. They are so hardworking. Should take inspiration. We should read their books. They have done so much in their life. But actually, it will only lead us to distress, because we are again in this cycle of birth and death only. We have to go through. We'll have to, like, the results we'll definitely get in our next life. Maybe they're doing pious activities. Maybe they'll have a good life in their next birth, but they will not be able to cross the cycle of birth and death. So now that when we know about Krishna, we should actually prepare for that. By doing our duties in this world, we should always remember him. And that it is said in Bhagavad-gītā that the first thing that God said, like the very first thing discussed when Arjuna said that I'm confused, I surrender unto you, like guide me. That's why he just said, first know that the difference between the soul and the material body. It's very important. I mean, when we'll be able to apply this in our lives, when we will be doing things like with the vision that I'm not the doer, when we'll think that, then we'll not entangle ourselves again in the cycle. That's the key thing. That's why in the very first, when like from verse 2.11, when God started to guide Arjuna, so he just first described about the soul, that it's the part and parcel of Krishna. Obviously we have little, like God has given us little independence to act. So what should we do? Like we have to act in a way which will help us to go home to back to Godhead, because we don't want to suffer here anymore. Because every day, like something or the other thing is happening, still we are looking for. Suppose I want something today, and maybe I got that, and I'll be like, okay, ठीक है, अच्छा है, and after 2 days, then I want another thing. Like this process of this that is going on for so many time, and like this we are just entangling ourselves. So we need to know what's the solution, where we can be like in bliss. हम आनंद में कहाँ रह सकते हैं? Because सुख दुख is like the weather, as it said, like विंटर है आज, कल समर है, ऐसे आज सुख है कल दुख है, ऐसा आता रहेगा जाता रहेगा, और हम इस मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में दुखी ही रहेंगे हमेशा. Because it is said, like it's dukhalam. Where we will find happiness in dukhalam? There's no way to find happiness in dukhalam, because it's full of miseries. So okay, this one story, the purport of that verse, Shravanam Kirtanam, so that this we can just take. That's why like my point was, that's why we should take inspiration from devotees. Is how they have also prepared in this human form to go to their permanent home. So we should take how they used to practice devotional service in their lives. So this one beautiful story. So I'll read that. So in the city, it's in the purport. So in the city of Pratishtanapura, long ago there resided a Brahmana who was poverty stricken but innocent and not dissatisfied. One day he heard a discourse in an assembly of Brahmanas concerning how to worship the deity in the temple. In that meeting, he also heard that the deity may be worshipped within the mind. After this incident, the Brahmana, having bathed in the Godavari river, began mentally worshipping the deity. He would wash the temple within his mind. वो भक्ति मन में कर रहे थे. That way we can also engage ourselves, like whenever we are just not doing anything and random thoughts are coming. So that time we can just think like that. So, or like if we just think, like sometimes when we see beautiful deities, like we also want to like serve them, but now we are not qualified for that. So this we can do mentally. And let's see, the story is actually very beautiful. So he began mentally worshipping the deity. He would wash the temple within his mind. वो मंदिर को आराम से क्लीन कर रहे थे सब मन में. And then in his imagination he would bring water from all the sacred rivers, like in golden and silver water pots, and he collected all kinds of valuable paraphernalia for worship. सब वो मन में सोच रहे हैं. Everything is just thinking in his mind. So He collected all kinds of valuable paraphernalia for worship, and he worshipped the deity very gorgeously, beginning from bathing the deity and ending with offering arati. Thus, he felt great happiness. That is the actual happiness. This is what we want. We can't find happiness in mundane things like buying a phone, buying a laptop, or something will never give us happiness. We may think that is like that happiness is very like firstly it's so-called happiness. It will like never give us actual happiness if we just say of the soul, because we also have to nourish the soul. Like now we are thinking like हम शरीर के हिसाब से सोच रहे हैं कि हमें वो चीज खुशी देगी, because it's just for our sense gratification and nothing else. So let's continue. And he worshipped. Okay, and after many years had passed in this way, one day within his mind, he cooked nice sweet rice with ghee to worship the deity. Okay, तो वो मन में उन्होंने he just prepared very nice sweet rice and he placed the sweet rice on a golden dish and offered it to Lord Krishna. But he felt that the sweet rice was very hot, and therefore he touched it with his finger. And सब वो imagination में चल रहा है सब कुछ. Okay. He immediately felt that his finger had been burned by this hot sweet rice, and thus he began to lament. While the Brahmana was in pain, Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha began smiling, and the goddess of fortune inquired from the Lord why he was smiling. Lord Vishnu then ordered his associates to bring the Brahmana to Vaikuntha. Thus, the Brahmana attained the liberation of Samipya, the facility of living near the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything, he just mentally served the Lord. Like, this is like so amazing. Like, if somebody could do that with so much devotion, like, then we can also like try this. Then there's obviously Shravanam, Kirtanam. So, I mean, like mentally only he just received Vaikuntha. That's so nice. Like, this is what is called inspiration. Otherwise, like, ये वर्ल्ड ये दुनिया तो हमको धोखा ही देती है बस और कुछ नहीं. So okay, also one thing, and also we should know one thing also, just one verse. Also we'll also know a little bit about how we can prepare in this life. Also we'll take another inspiration, this story of Narada Muni. We know about him, we have seen him so much, so we'll also read about him a little bit, ताकि हम भक्तों से इंस्पिरेशन लेके थोड़ा सा भक्ति कर पाए इस जीवन में. So let's see. It was from Chaitanya Charitamrita, text Madhya Leela. Just a minute. Madhya Leela 19.151. Very beautiful verse. Yeah, this one. Yeah. This verse, I just said, for like any mystical, try to recite the verse. Brahmanda Brahmite Ono Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Veer. It's very, very beautiful verse. So let's read the translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. According to their karma, all living entities are wandering throughout the entire universe. Like, we know this. Like, पता नहीं कितने जन्मों से यहाँ वहाँ घूम रहे हैं. Some of them are being elevated to the upper planetary systems, and some are going down into the lower planetary systems. Obviously, there are 14 planetary systems. So, शायद किसी को स्वर्ग लोक ब्रह्म लोक मिल गया, किसी को कोई पाताल में चले गए. We are मृत्यु लोक, like भूलोक, something. नहीं, हम मृत्यु लोक. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. I'll again read that. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. By the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. So we shouldn't consider ourselves that we are this human form is useless, we are not able to do anything. We shouldn't think like that. Because we are very fortunate that Krishna gave this human form, and we should take advantage, and we should always be grateful to him that he have given us this chance to actually chant his names. There are so many people, they don't know. So also we'll read the word meanings because I just recited the verse. Brahmanda Pramide, wandering. Brahmanda means in this universe. Wandering in this universe. Brahmite means Brahman karna. Kona, some Bhagyavan, most fortunate. Jiva, living being. Guru, of the spiritual master. Krishna, of Krishna. Prasade, by the mercy. By, gets. Bhakti Lata, of the creeper of devotional service. Bija, the seed. Okay, so we'll read here how, Narada Muni just become Narada Muni. So let's just see the third verse. How one can become this fortunate can be seen in the life of Srila Narada Muni. In his previous life, he was born of a maidservant. Although he was not born into a prestigious position, his mother was fortunately engaged in rendering service to some Vaishnavas. तो उनकी माता वैष्णवों का सेवा करती थी, तो साथ में वो भी सेवा में लग गए थे. This whole thing is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. I think Canto 1 or Canto 2, I don't remember that. So, when these Vaishnavas were resting during the Chaturmasa period, the boy, Narada, took the opportunity to engage in their service. So, उन्होंने भी उनकी मम्मी के साथ सेवा करी थी. So, taking compassion upon the boy, the Vaishnavas offered him the remnants of their food. By serving these Vaishnavas and obeying their orders, the boy became the object of their sympathy. And by the Vaishnavas' unknown mercy, he gradually became a pure devotee. In the next life, he was Narada Muni, the most exalted of Vaishnavas and the most important guru and acharya of Vaishnavas. So it's very important, we can get Krishna Bhakti if we want to prepare in this life so that we can cross the cycle of birth and death. So then you have to serve his devotees also. So if वो हमें थोड़ी सी कृपा करे, और वो हमसे प्रसन्न हो कि हम पे थोड़ा कृपा करे, तो then definitely we can hope that one day we may also go back to our permanent home. So yeah, we'll just wrap up today's class with one last verse. Let's see which verse it was. Okay. Yeah. So since we are discussing the verse from Bhagavad-gītā, so we'll read this. It's there in the introduction. We'll read this. Where is it? There in the introduction. It's a very beautiful verse.
Mataji, would you like me to open up the page from the introduction of the Bhagavad-gītā?
Yeah, you can. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the introduction. Mataji, in the last part. Okay, in the introduction. Ekdam last one. Yeah.
That is here.
Just a
you're not
minute.
seeing it.
Yeah, Gita Mahatmya, I think the first Gita Dhyan. Let me just find it. Yeah, I'll read the second verse. Like, we have this thing, like, we always think that there are so many sins maybe we have done in our past lives and we are suffering. Like, then who will be elevated? Like, I always have this thought, like we are actually suffering so much, then we just think, like, kitne paap ki honge, like, kaise hoga? Like, if we just think sometimes, obviously, these holy names are, like, more powerful than our sins, but sometimes we have this thing which may demotivate us in our devotional service. So we'll just wrap up with this verse. This verse is actually very beautiful. It's from Gita Mahatmya. Like, Gita will help us. It will help us to uplift ourselves from the cycle of birth and death. So I'll read that. So the first thing, in conclusion, Bhagavad-gītā, like Mataji, just a little bit, the first verse. Yeah, in conclusion, yes. In conclusion, Bhagavad-gītā is a transcendental literature which one should read very carefully. Gita Shastramidam Punyam Yaha Pathet Prata Puman. If one properly follows the instructions of Bhagavad-gītā, one can be freed from all the miseries and anxieties of life. All the miseries. Like, we don't have to actually worry for anything, but we'll have to be very sincere and very serious when we are reading this. We may not be able to understand everything when we'll read it for the very first time, but with time, when we'll listen Hari Katha, when we'll listen about it from devotees, from realized souls, then definitely we'll understand. Maybe it'll take 1 year, 2 years, but we'll definitely understand. So let's read again. One can read all in Bhaya Shokadi Varjitaha. One will be freed from all fears in this life, and one's next life will be spiritual. Okay, we were just telling love how we're just discussing like how we can prepare for our next life. So Bhagavad-gītā has also given us the solution that if we read this book like with a compassionate heart, like full of devotion, like with a lot of sincerity, and we should also serve the devotees of Krishna, then we can definitely hope that we will be able to, serve Krishna. Maybe we'll be able to go to Golok Vrindavan Dham and serve him there. Okay, there is also a further advantage. Gita dhyayana shilasya pranayama parasya cha naiva santi hi papani purva janma kritani cha. If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. Like, it's very important. Like, anything, any misdeeds we may have done in our past, God will just forgive us for everything. So, let's just pray that He will shower His mercy on us, and may we always be able to serve devotees and be sincere in our devotional life. So, thank you for joining. If anything I said was inaccurate, please forgive me for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to unmute or even write your question in the chat.
Or any feedbacks.
Yes.
Yeah, any feedback.
That was honestly very wonderful, I believe. And I also learned a lot from you. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I don't think anyone has any questions, but if anybody would like to share any sort of reflection from what they learned today, I would like to call on Mukesh Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Are you able to unmute yourself, Mukesh Prabhuji? No.
Everything good, Mataji.
Okay.
No need to say anything. All good.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Ankita Mataji, Hare Krishna. Would you like to share any sort of reflection from what you have learned today in today's class? No?
Hi, sorry, Mataji, did you ask me?
Yes, Mataji. I was asking if you enjoyed anything from today's class. Or...
Yeah, everything, it was wonderful. Yeah, it was a wonderful session. It was my first session, but I really liked it, and I hope I would attend the further sessions.
Awesome. We look forward to having you in our more sessions, upcoming ones.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right, then we will close today's session with the closing prayers. Vajakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
See you guys next Tuesday at 7:30. Hare Krishna.